Hello, I'm Heather Smith and welcome to the Accounting Apps podcast, exploring the accounting and business apps community. Today I'm sharing with you a panel session, Digital Transformation and AI in Accounting. The Future is Now, which was held at the Accounting and Business Expo in Sydney 2025. Due to the nature of panel sessions and the audio equipment I use, the audio is not perfect, but the content is excellent. I suggest you listen, and if in some areas it is a bit patchy, fast forward 30 seconds. I've listened to the entire session and edited out audio issues, but let's see how you get on. So to clarify, it was me, not you, or the speakers, and I need to figure out how to record panel sessions better. Joining me on the panel, in order that I spoke to them, were Lilette Kalesia from Business Depot, Sabby Gill, the CEO of Dext, and Alicia Bailey from RSM Australia. Dext kindly sponsored this session. I encourage you to stay up to date with the curated content I'm sharing by signing up for the Accounting Apps newsletter, available at accountingapps.io, joining the Accounting Apps Mastermind group, and subscribing to this podcast.
Thank you so much, Dale, for that introduction, and welcome. Today we're discussing digital transformation and AI in accounting. The future is now. I'm your moderator, Heather Smith. Can I ask the panellists to briefly introduce yourselves, let the audience know who you are, where you're from, and what brings you to this discussion today. Can I start with you, Lilette, on that one?
Sure. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Lilette Kalesia, and I am one of the directors at Business Depot here in Sydney. So what brings me here today? Well, basically, I was a last-minute fly-in. So I haven't had that much time to prepare, but hopefully I should be able to nail it, because digital adoption and digitisation is something we've been doing for at least 10 years. So hopefully I can bring some of our experience to those of you who are new to it or who are also struggling, because we're all struggling with digital adoption and keeping up with all those changes. So I'm excited to be here.
And you also won Firm of the Future, the international award. So I do think you have some credibility being here, Lilette.
Oh, okay, yes. Many years ago, I won a few awards in my time. But yeah, that's because I consistently keep evolving. So it's not about staying still. So as soon as you stand still and you don't evolve, then you jeopardise yourself at being stagnant and not growing, and the industry leaving you behind.
Absolutely. Sabby.
Hi everyone, my name is Sabby Gill. I'm the Chief Exec of Dext. I'm actually from London. Hopefully the accent sort of gives it away. But I'm here just to really learn more about what's going on in the market and understand what can we do for you. Dext has been around for 14 years. We've been here in Sydney for at least 10 of those. The one word that you're going to constantly hear over the next couple of days is AI. We've always been an AI company, an applied AI company for the last 10 years here in Australia. And we want to demyth a lot of whether it's scaring or myths around AI. It's one of those tools that if you don't start thinking about it in your practice, you will be left behind. So hopefully you'll learn more around what that entails for you in your practice.
Alicia.
Hi everyone, Director at RSM Australia. My name is Alicia Bailey. Why I'm here is personally my background. I started working with family business as a bookkeeper. I thought I might do this accounting thing ago. I started as a graduate at Little Rock in a traditional tax and compliance role. I then moved on to Bazaar's in a similar role, and I was starting to question why at the end of the year I was just tidying everything up and making significant adjustments that just completely show a different position of the business throughout the year than at the end of the year. And I started questioning what we're doing. I wanted to talk to my clients more frequently, I wanted to meet with them more frequently, and thankfully through the adoption of the cloud and the apps available in the ecosystem were able to automate their processes, their finance functions, start meeting more frequently. So I've been going to these events for some time now, so I'm hoping I can give back what I've learned over the years.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Alicia. And I forgot it used to take 18 months to get accurate records, and then you were like racing ahead again. Sabby. Advisors are playing a critical role in leading digital transformation for businesses. How can accountants and bookkeepers position themselves as the digital transformation leaders?
Yeah, look, I think the one word I'd use is trusted advisors, right?
That's 2 words.
It's not when you put it together. But to me, it's more than just bookkeeping. Right? I think bookkeeping is a process more than a job. And if you think about what the outcomes of bookkeeping, it's really giving you the most up-to-date financial data, giving it to you in real time so you can make dynamic decisions. Bookkeeping is a process, it gives you that outcome. But you've got to know what to do with it. So much financial information sort of comes through that process. And for me, it's having a trusted advisor, somebody that small business owners actually trust, to give them the right information, but also give them the right context of what that data actually tells you. And for me, that's what advisory is. It's really about trying to help businesses grow. And I know no business sort of comes into fruition thinking, well, actually, I just want to stay where I am. Some businesses might do, but really, you want to grow. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is by having the most up-to-date information to be able to make real informed decisions there and then. And you don't want to wait, say, 18 months before you start getting to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I asked the questions out of turn, so I'm going to come back to you, Sabby. I might have confused you there. Sorry. The latest KPMG report, called Keeping Us Up at Night, not that it is keeping us up at night, highlights that digital transformation is now the #1 priority for business leaders. Why has it moved up the agenda so rapidly? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, look, technology is obviously the #1 thing that will drive everybody from an adoption perspective. You know, we talk about business transformation, but businesses don't just wake up in the morning and say, well, I need to transform. Mainly it's because either regulatory compliance, some element of competition, and technology is probably the biggest driver, I would say. And it goes back to some of the things that Richard and I were talking about, which is it's the rise of financial data and having that information real time. We talked about automation and AI, regulatory pressures. So all of these things are now starting to come to a head, and now probably more so than ever, competition is rife for the accounting industry and the bookkeeping industry in general. So it's like if you don't keep up, it's not a case of there's always this our job's going to go away. It's not a case of the accounting industry or technology is going to take your jobs away. Or take your clients away. It's going to be other accounting practices that will come and take those clients away. So it's really important just to stay ahead of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lilette, I'm going to come to you and then Alicia. As we've all agreed, technology is changing rapidly. What are the biggest challenges your clients are facing when adopting digital tools?
I think it's finding people who can help them. They come to us first because, to use your words, savvy, trusted advisor. But we're trusted with so much. And honestly, don't come to me for making your business a lot more automated. Come to me and I can give you the advice and I can share with you the tech that's out there. But we're slowly learning that I am not that person to do the implementation, to run it and test it. I am that person who is going to test the workflow and the data flow coming through to the financials. But I'm not that person who's going to put in a brand new inventory system for you. Or, things like Dext and stuff, yes, absolutely. It's our bread and butter. It's what we do every day. But I think where they're struggling is who do they go to? They actually don't know that there are people out there that do this stuff. And that's our job, is to bring that to the table and say, hey, I think your business can be a lot more efficient. We can actually take these people here and get them working in this area. So we're not looking at getting rid of people's roles, but we're just evolving their roles. Because if we don't help them all evolve as a business, then the chances are that the business is not going to be profitable. Who wants to be in business if you're not making money? So our role is to help them identify where those gaps are in the business. So that's just not my role, that's everyone on my team. So I make sure that everyone on my team is looking out for the gaps, where there are inefficiencies in the clients, particularly when they're doing bookkeeping. That is the first place you are going to spot an inefficiency in the business, is doing bookkeeping, doing payroll. How are they getting their times in? How are they recording their expenses? So our role there is to bring that to surface. But like I said, it doesn't start with me, it starts from the bottom. And my job then is to bring it to the client and help them see what's out there and what's possible.
Yeah, I love that answer. That I don't need to be doing everything. Alicia, what are the biggest challenges your clients are seeing in the adoption of digital tools?
I think there's a lot of different challenges in business. I think it's the approach that you bring with your staff and how you approach every engagement. I think to get them on side, what we do is have a transparent conversation with them at the start. What is their strategy? What are their pain points? And then we talk to the benefits of automating that through technology, what we've done with prior clients, and the ultimate aim to get them more time and reliable data. I think that gives them confidence. They tend not to start thinking about the pricing of the subscription that they have to implement. They know that we're there as their advisors to support them through training, change management, and explaining to them it's a journey as well. We don't have to do everything up front. We can tackle, say, one item at a time and progress sort of targeting their pain points in line with their business. So if they're seeing that they're spending 5 days on a payroll, it's only about 100 staff, we look to identify and streamline that process first and automate all of that through the reporting stage.
5 days on a payroll.
Probably going to be like up to 3. I've heard 3. So realistically, with the apps available in the market now, you should see that at probably 3 hours as opposed to those.
Yeah.
Systems and processes in place.
And you just don't have time or capacity to even think if you are spending 5 days on a payroll.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of financial teams in-house have the ability all the time to go to market to see what's available. So Willette mentioned before, it's really a really good opportunity to lean on your advisors or lean on your consultants that have that experience and that exposure. A lot of experience in going through the market.
Can I just add to that? I agree with you. The larger the client, we find that the less experience that they have in their in-house finance team to actually make these changes. So it's quite sad because they've got the budget, but they don't have the knowledge, and the people there are just doing the same because that's all they know. They're not here.
We need to get them here. So, Sabby, looking ahead, what should firms be doing now to stay relevant in the AI-driven world?
Yeah, look, I think the most important one is a digital mindset. Right? A lot of what you've sort of heard, whether it's digital transformation, whether it's business transformation, all of those things, you can speed up a process, right? Just by trying to throw more humans at it. You can make things faster just by trying to put some element of technology. But you've got to look at the entire process. You can't just look at things in point solutions. So having that digital mindset is absolutely key. Educate and upskilling your teams, right? And giving them access to all of those tools. Sometimes people can be very restricted. Right? I was talking to a couple of bookkeepers earlier, and it was the whole thing of they believe ChatGPT is the answer to everything. Right? Because it's the only tool that they've actually heard about. But that doesn't necessarily give you everything that you need, because you don't put in financial information, you don't put in customer information. It's a very generic tool, but it needs context. So, one of the things that we believe is a big driver is that if you want to go and create tax returns, that's okay as a process, but it doesn't give you context at all. If you don't use ChatGPT, it'll just give you a very generic answer. But you need individual people who are educated and upskilled, who come from the accounting industry, to be able to then use these tools more effectively. And then, just guiding clients. We can do as much as we want, and as everybody sort of said at the moment, is clients can come to you and ask you all these questions, so you've got to guide them to the right place. Right? Technology is not just a simple answer that says, well, just go and adopt this. It's more a case of you've got to be able to tell them the why you're having to do this and what are the level of returns and those sort of things. And then it's things like networking, just turning up to these types of events and just speaking to lots of people, speaking to your peers. At the end of the day, this is about community.
Yeah.
Right? And to me, that's the most important.
Yeah. And I think to that, know who to refer them to in the network, and one of the opportunities of coming to events like this is finding the people in the networks who you have confidence in referring them to. It's not just a black and white name, it's that confidence, because whatever happens, it's a journey, and I'm a part of that journey. So Lillette and Alicia, how can firms train staff to embrace digital tools and provide those higher end services? So how are you going about training your staff in that?
This question is timely because I'm actually in the middle of training new staff and a new team. And I don't start with, here you go, stick you in a desk and do all the processing. I re-engineer it backwards and I say, this is what we're doing for this client. This is the end result that I need you to get to as well, the advisory piece. So I start from the end, and then I start from the beginning, because I don't want them to think that their role is merely data entry, processing, coding, bank recs. They're part of the bigger picture, and they need to understand. I need to get their buy-in. I also need them to understand that we use all this technology, but with that comes a duty of care, because a lot of it's live data, and the client can log on any time. And if we're making errors, the client's going to pick up on that. So there's a couple of things I have to teach them. So everything they do has a ramification if it's incorrect, but not to the extent that they get in trouble, but to the extent that the client is watching. It's no more of this, here's the shoebox, and you do your own stuff and you make your errors and your manager picks it up. The errors are picked up by our clients before even a manager spots it. So it's really important that the training is critical and they understand why they're doing, and if they have made a mistake, to own it and feel comfortable. So there's a trust thing as well. So training someone today is different to what I was doing 5 years ago, to be perfectly honest. So it's a lot more intense. I have a new trainee who said she's in her last year at uni, and she goes, oh my God, I didn't know how many systems accountants use. And I went, welcome to our world. And we're agnostic, so we're using all products. We're using MYB, Xero, QuickBooks, and then add on all the add-ons. So it's really, I feel sorry for the graduates coming through, because it's no longer just one system. So yeah, it's we have a responsibility to take it slowly with them. I find when I'm offshore, the team is different, their learning ability compared to local. So local, you've actually got to go a bit slower. And offshore, yeah, they're a lot more, they're a lot quicker. And Rebecca and I were having this conversation the other day, and we realised that the DNA of the offshore team is different, because they will get in there and they'll do. But as soon as something is out of left field, they get stuck and they don't know what to do. Whereas locally, we can think out of the box. That's the difference, I find. So you've got to understand your team and understand their strengths, their weaknesses. I mean, we'll talk about cyber later, but that's another huge one as well.
Anything you'd like to add there, and maybe touch on the providing the higher value services, how you're exploring that. But anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, of course. I think training, supporting our staff by giving a simplified app stack. There are other apps in the ecosystem, I think that can quite confuse them. So what I've done, working at a prior firm, setting up a outsourcing division both for RSM, is look at what we were providing our clients and look at opportunities to simplify and standardise all of our systems and processes that suits 80-90% of our clients, and getting our staff skilled and trained to utilise those tools and be aware and able to adopt when a client needs something specific. I think that has allowed training to deplete. When we onboard them, they go through certifications. The certifications that are available are incredible. For training as well, making sure that the apps and the vendors that you're partnering with have support, have incredible support. I think that's critical. We've worked with apps before and there was no support, and we saw that quickly accountants got dishevelled or uninterested in that type of work purely because the application wasn't the right. So there's various different ways. I think the last thing to add would really be encouraging all the staff to challenge the status quo and be involved in processes, and then thereafter start building out the process as well and training at all levels.
Yeah, absolutely.
So not just having to do it at the leadership level, really get every level training the level down, and it just really spreads the workload. And I'll be honest, I probably can't teach my team how to data entry in a zero or whatnot now, but everyone's learning from one another and we're all able to elevate, and by doing that and creating systems and processes to gain time, everyone's aware that we're working towards giving everyone more opportunity to be involved in the advisory space. We automate the mundane and they're not processing a payroll for 5 days or an account payable for 3 days. They've got the opportunity to be involved in talking about cash flow forecasting, what's the strategy of the business, what's happening in, say, the construction industry for some of our clients, and their GP margins. So it really opens up that opportunity.
So Alicia mentioned their certifications, and I'll pop up on LinkedIn in the next couple of days a list of all the certifications in this space that I'm aware of that you can just go and check out. As someone said, they're like little cherries on your resume or LinkedIn profile, going and grabbing their certifications.
Yeah. You know that you're going to have that level of support when you're using an app or when your team's using an app. You also know your team are going to be sitting there frustrated trying to do a simple task and they've got so many resources available from the vendor.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we're moving towards the end of today's session, I'd like each of you to share what's a step or some steps that firms should take today to future-proof their services. Would you like to start there, Savi?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is use the opportunity just to get educated on what's really going on in the market, right, and what's going on with technology. The statement I made earlier is happening. Right? There are a lot of organisations out there who are adopting this technology, and they will be on your heels and on your clients, and potentially are able to potentially offer services at a lot cheaper cost because they're using technology to drive a lot of the cost out of the business. But a lot of the costs that they drive out is not people, it's inefficiency that they're driving out of the business. Everything I always think about is always about, AI is not there to take jobs away, it's there to augment the existing individuals and people, to elevate, as Alicia said, to take away those mundane tasks and elevate the role that you play. So I always go back to it's a trusted advisor that will really turn accountants and bookkeepers into, rather than any other role.
Thank you.
Look at your processes. Don't just stick apps on your business or on clients without identifying your processes, your bottlenecks. Because what are you trying to solve? So that's the first thing. So many times I've stuck in that bottleneck. I haven't thought about the implication on this app to everyone in my team. I may have just looked at it from my perspective, but not from the whole organisation, especially when you're multi-services like business affairs. I need to understand what that impact is across all our teams. So make sure you involve the right stakeholders. Don't feel it's just your decision. Get people in to help you, delegate, because if you want to bring in better AI tools, better robotic tools, all those things, they're all the conversations we're having now. We're trying to work out what are those mundane tasks we can automate. What does that look like? And bring in the relevant people. So because everyone will bring in something to that conversation that you didn't think about.
Alicia.
I would say keep it simple and really dig into what are your teams spending the most time doing that is mundane, repetitive, that you can automate. Invest the time in that. If you can create time and space for yourself and your team, that will allow you to scale up in an advisory space. If we're too busy, we're too distracted, we're trying to cover too much and we don't have the time, there's a little opportunity to really have a clear head to start talking to your client about the advisory that they need for us today. And network. I think the community here is amazing. Sorry, that's another thing I'd say. I've learned so much from this community. Everyone's willing to share. Talk to them about your pain points and share.
Thank you so much, Alicia, and thank you everyone so much for attending this session, Digital Transformation and AI in Accounting. The future is now. Can I encourage all of you to, when you do start moving around the theatre, head to the entrance and go and say hello to the lovely people at Dext. If you're not using Dext, go and explore what the options are there for you. And I'd like to encourage you to connect with all our fellow speakers on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for joining me.
The panel session was sponsored by Dext. Dext is a cloud-based accounting software platform that helps accountants, bookkeepers and businesses streamline financial data collection and processing. Formerly known as Receipt Bank, Dext offers tools for automated data extraction, invoice and receipt management, and real-time financial insights. It integrates with accounting systems like Xero, QuickBooks Online and Sage, making it easier to reduce data entry, improve accuracy and speed up workflows. With a strong focus on automation and AI, Dext empowers advisors to shift from compliance work to strategic advisory-focused services. I encourage you to keep up to date with modern accounting technology landscape by subscribing to the Accounting Apps podcast, the Accounting Apps newsletter, and join the community happening in the Accounting Apps Mastermind community. I'm your host, Heather Smith, and I'm pretty easy to find on all social media platforms. I look forward to connecting with you.